Hello Balloon World, I'm Michael Flood, your balloon twister, and this time I want to teach you how to make a lobster. This is a really easy design. It only uses 3 balloons and anybody can make it. Let me show you how. For this design you'll need 3 red 260s. Get your first red 260 out and inflate it halfway. Let's them out and tie. Give it a squeeze and a stretch. We're going to start with the claws of our lobster. We're going to make a small 1-inch bubble followed by a soft section that we're going to bend over and meet back at the knot. We want there to be a nice peak since this is the claw. So that's about 4, maybe 5 inches. I'm gonna twist this seam into this knot. And to keep it from coming undone, I'm gonna take that knot, I'm gonna wrap it through the hole. This way, if I let go of it, it's not gonna come undone on me. Now I'm gonna give the balloon another squeeze. I'm gonna twist a very small pinch twist. By twisting a small bubble, a little bit smaller than 1 inch, I'm gonna fold it over, I'm going to pinch it, pull it, and twist it. Make my pinch twist. I'm going to put that on the bottom of the claw because I want the claws to go forward instead of like top like we did for the crab. Link for the crab is in the description. So there we have 1 claw. Now we need to go down for the part of the arm. I'm going to go down 3 inches, twist the seam there, add another 1-inch bubble pinch twist. 1-inch bubble, fold it over, pinch it, pull it, and twist it. And there I have 1 claw. Now I need to make another one. Get your other red 260. With our second red 260, we're going to do just like we did with the first. Inflate it halfway. Let them out and tie. Give it a squeeze and a stretch. And just like we did the first, we're going to make a 1-inch bubble. About a 3 or 4 inch section. Twist this knot into this seam. Twist a small bubble. A little bit smaller than 1 inch. Fold it over, pinch twist it, put it on the bottom. So there we have our second claw. Now just like we did with the first arm, we're going to twist a section about 3 inches. There we go. Follow that up with another 1-inch bubble, pinch twist. 1-inch bubble, fold it over, pinch it, pull it, and twist it. So now we should have 2 of these. Our next step is to put these together so that way they match up and run parallel. We're going to twist the upper arm because we want to make sure they're the same length. So I'm going to make these about 3 inches long. And to keep these from coming undone, I'm going to take one of them and flip it over. Now we're going to make the head, which is a very small flower petal. Choose one of the balloons, whichever one is longer. Give it a squeeze and a stretch. And make a small flower petal that's maybe about 3 inches in length. To keep this from coming undone, I'm going to take that bubble and I'm going to switch it with the long balloon, just to lock it into place. I'm going to adjust the arms a little bit so you can see it, so you can already sort of see our lobster coming together. How cool is that? For the body, we're going to twist 2 sections, each about 3 inches in length. And we're going to twist those together. So now we have those 2 sections here twisted together. So you should have something that looks like this so far. Now comes the fun and hard part. We're going to make the tail. For the tail, we're going to twist a very soft bubble from each of the balloons of the same length. To do that, you're going to lay them together, once again making sure that they're soft. You're going to twist a bubble that's a little bit bigger than 1 inch, maybe about 1.5 inches. And you can twist both of them together to make sure they're about the same size. Then you're going to choose one of them, whichever one has the longest uninflated section. For me, that's this one. You're going to pull a little bit of slack out, so it has a little bit of uninflated section. You're going to wrap it down, back below those 2 bubbles, tightly, around, then take that slack and wrap it back up. What that does is it squares off those 2 bubbles and makes them a little bit less round. I don't know if you can see that, but it does. Now we're going to do that 2 more times. We're going to take them, make sure these are soft. Twist off a section a little bit over 1 inch. Find whichever one has the longest part of uninflated section. Get a little bit of slack from that. Wrap it down and around, and back up and around. Push the air back down so it's nice and firm. And there we have the second one. Can you see the little design pattern that we're doing here? How cool is that looking? Now we need 1 more set. Hold them together, twist them, find the part that has the longest uninflated section. That way we can get a little slack. Wrap it down tightly, back up and around. And there we have our lobster tail. How cool does that look? Only thing left are the flippers on the end of the tail. What I like to do is I push the air all the way to the end. They should have about the same length, the same amount. If yours aren't the same length or the same amount, you can always break one so that it's a little bit shorter, so that way they're the same size. But since mine came out pretty good, I'm gonna twist 2 bubbles here right at the end. And I'm gonna twist those 2 bubbles into this seam down here. I'm gonna put one of the bubbles on one side of the fin and one on the other. Like that. So there is my lobster body. How cool is that? You can see the squared off bubbles for the tail, got the big fins on the back, we have the claws on the front over here, and we have our lobster body. The only thing left are the antennas. The antennas are a lot of fun to make, especially if you know how to do a poodle tail. But we're gonna actually be making 2 poodle tails out of 1 balloon, which can be a little tricky. You want to inflate about 4 inches of the balloon. Tie a knot. Unlike the rest of the balloons, we're not going to squeeze and stretch this one because we want to make sure the uninflated section stays unstretched. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the balloon with our hand to prevent it from coming inflated, and we're going to push some air, but we only want the air right there in the middle. So go ahead and pinch off one section with one finger. You're only going to gently cup the uninflated section here, and you're going to try to push all of the air up into that section. The idea is to get the inflated section in the middle of the balloon. So you can measure the 2 sides. This side's a little bit longer than this side, so I can move it a little bit that way. There we go. Now that looks about even. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be sort of close. Now I'm going to twist right in the middle because I want 2 evenly divided sections with uninflated lengths that are about the same. And I have that. Now I'm going to take this seam here and I'm going to twist it into the head of my lobster, which is right here where the arms and the head meet. I just slip it over. I don't need to wrap it in there too much. And there we have our antennas. Now comes the poodle tailing part. We're going to pinch the end and pull it taut, creating a localized pressure vacuum here. So that way when we push the air here down, the only place for the air to go is at the very end of the balloon. Oh, so you didn't pull tight enough. You need to pinch it right in the end and pull real tight. That way the air has nowhere else to go but there. There we go. Do that for both of them. This can take a little bit of practice, but it's a lot of fun. Now sometimes the air will escape like it did there. What you can do is you can gently push the air back down and try to overinflate it a little bit and to get it nice and full and tight so that way it won't go back again. If it keeps going back on you, you might need to tie a knot at the top of these. That way they won't come undone. That looks like this. I just tie a knot right at the top. And this will actually prevent the air from going back inside, but it doesn't look quite as clean. You can see they sort of like hang forward a little bit. And if you want your antennas to hang forward like that, feel free to tie the knot at the end. But there we go, 1 lobster made out of 3 balloons. The only thing left to do is to draw his face on. I like to use a white paint marker to draw the eyes. Above the center line of the face, I'm going to draw 2 half circles on each side. And make sure you wait for that to dry before you draw the rest of the face on, otherwise you might smudge the paint. One thing that I like to do is while that paint is drying, I can draw the smile on the bottom. I like to give him just a little bit of a smirk. Then once the eyes are dry, what I do is I draw a line on the bottom of each eye, and then from the top corner of the eye, I trace it all the way back down to the line. Then I draw and fill in a black circle for each eye. And then I add a gleam to the top right corner of each eye using my white paint marker. I just put a little bit of a dot. And there we go, 1 happy lobster. Well, that's it for this video, guys. As always, if you enjoyed it, click that thumbs up button. And I'll see you back here next Monday with a brand new balloon animal lesson. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you subscribe. I'm Michael, your balloon twister. Remember, you can make anything out of balloons, even a lobster.